Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OTS podcast, Tracks and Trajectories. This is a podcast where we explore the journeys of curious minds in science and conservation. I'm your host, Zing, and today we are very excited to share the story of Adrian Lee, who is a senior at Kenyon College and an OTS alumnus who has a deep passion for birds and anything ornithology. Adrian's journey has taken him from the classroom of Ohio to the savannas of South Africa and landscapes of Eswatini. As a dedicated birder, Adrian's fascination with the avian life has driven his research and fieldwork, including his time in the African Ecology and Conservation program, and later on in his work with the IRS research team that he tagged along with, which he helped to balance a collaborative project with independent research and gained a unique perspective on conservation across cultures and continents. In these episodes, we'll dive into Adrian's loves for birding, his transformative experiences in South Africa and Eswatini, as well as the lessons he has carried back to Ohio and beyond. So settle in and let's explore the tracks and trajectories of Adrian Lee. Hello, Adrian. Welcome to the OTS podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited it's always great to hear from anyone in my OTS family. And you're looking good. So it's great to be back.
If you are to describe your entire journey through ecology and conservation in one word, what would it be and why?
I guess I'd have to fall back on, there's so many good options here, and part of me wants to say heterogeneity. Actually, I was going to say birds, but I might go with heterogeneity, since that's something that we talked about a lot on OTS, and even had fun little hand signals to convey the message of heterogeneity. But I think growing up, I was like, my dad's a scientist, and I was always exposed to a lot of science, or like we were very outdoorsy, and my parents would like point out various like plants or animals on family hikes and such. And I found that I was really interested in all of these species and the interactions between them, and sort of drawing connections. But I think I've had, as I was growing up, I would cycle through like an intense ecological interest, and now have kind of settled on birds as I guess, extracurricular, but I really am interested in plants, and like landscape patterns of plant occurrence and interactions with the herbivores. So I think heterogeneity captures, it uses a great ecology buzzword and captures some of my varied interests in ecology and conservation.
That's a really great take, I must say. So let's build up a bit on kind of this. You delve into the field of biology, ecology, and really honing in on avian biology or ornithology. Was there a defining moment in your life that sort of sparked your interest in this field?
I think, as I recall, my favorite bird probably is at least in the United States, is the trumpeter swan. And it was nearly hunted to extinction for, I believe, feathers and meat. It's this really beautiful bird with a wonderful voice. And they've started to really come back in my home state of Washington. And there's a park in my like 10 minutes from my house where they started to winter. And I remember going there once and seeing these beautiful swans and being really excited. My dad explaining a bit about waterfowl and birds to me, and just being really fascinated. And then I think there have been a number of moments continuing to grow, going off to college, taking my first bio class and realizing, I really like this stuff. And being involved in research is definitely a huge one. I work with Dr. Natalie Wright here at Kenyon College, and she studies sort of the evolution of bird flight and mechanics of bird flight, and definitely getting more involved with the lab, going to lab meetings the first few times. I was like, I feel so at home here, so glad to be discovering new things
Mhm.
as like a 19-year-old at that point,
Yeah.
and haven't really stopped since.
Wow. Wow. You have a fascinating story, and hopefully in the course of this podcast, we'll try the best that we can to unpack aspect of it into what really fascinating story that you have. So let's now talk a bit more about your OTS adventure. You have participated in the African Ecology and Conservation program in South Africa, and later you returned again for some more research. First, can you tell us which year or which semester of the AEC course did you attend, and when you returned, in what capacity did you return for that sort of other research, and when, and what did you do?
Yeah. I came in, I guess, spring 2023 from a Northern
Mhm.
Hemisphere perspective. So I
Yeah.
got there in late January and left in at the very beginning of May.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I was there for that semester program. It was a fantastic time. And at the culmination of your abroad experience with the AEC, you
Mhm.
do a independent project.
That's right.
So I worked with Max, another one of the students on my program, who I believe
Mhm.
also has a podcast episode. So I'd
Yes.
encourage you to tune into that.
Mhm.
Um, but the theme of our final projects was fire, and Max and I were looking at the traits of grasses, and using the traits as in like physical measurements of grass to see if we could predict um, how well they burnt, how rapidly, how hot, other variables. And we found some interesting results in that different um, positions on a slope, um, the grasses present at the top of the slope versus the bottom of the slope had different traits,
Mhm.
which sort of indicates that there's variability um, in how fire impacts savanna ecosystems, with some implications on how we can manage savannas for fire, and understand how fire impacts and is incredibly important in these systems. Um, and I was super excited about this research and sad that we'd only been able to sample a couple dozen individual grasses.
Mhm.
So I talked to Dr. Lawrence Kruger, the illustrious
Mhm.
director of OTS,
Mhm.
and he said, "Hey, Adrian, we'd love to have you back." And so I was able to seek funding through my school and return last summer, from the end of May through mid-July 2024, to expand my project, and be back in the field.
Wow. That's really interesting. I mean, Southern Africa as a whole has incredible landscape, and the biodiversity is mind blowing. Many
Yeah.
people oftentimes talk about the megafauna, the elephants and the rhinos, which, don't get me wrong, I totally think are amazing, but
Yes.
oftentimes people fail to see the amazing side of the not so megafauna when you talk about the flora, just like you did. So fire is a big driver of the ecosystem in Southern Africa, particularly in South Africa. It's been used both in controlled and uncontrolled ways to sort of shape what the ecosystem looks like. And that to a large extent also modifies what animals you find where and where. And oftentimes looking at these traits in plants and in grasses like you did is an often neglected side of science and research. And I'm really glad that you did that, and the very interesting things that you found during your capstone project first, and having to return to do sort of more on that. That's really, really exciting. And I'm glad you had to experience the Southern African landscape not just once, but twice. Not many people get to enjoy such privileges, especially coming from the Northern Hemisphere,
Yeah.
but you did that, and that's it's a great story.
Thank
Now,
you.
if we're going to compare your experience at AEC and when you return as an independent researcher,
Yeah.
and sort of your experience in the US, in Ohio, in Kenya, how did your time at OTS differ from the traditional academic experience back home in Kenyan college?
My favorite thing about OTS was just how immersed you are in the landscapes. Um, and Kenyan, we're privileged to have a large nature preserve of several hundred acres just off campus.
Mm.
Um, and so we've been able to do class visits there and labs in that space. Um, but still, you're not. Much of my OTS experience, I was in the middle of Kruger National Park, which is about the size of New Jersey, just this massive game reserve with like the full complement of megafauna, as Zing mentioned, and everything else. And when we weren't in Kruger, we were usually in another natural area. So being able to have a lecture at 1 p.m. or something about the impact of elephants on the landscape, and then go at 2 for a couple hour game drive in a safari vehicle to go see elephants and look, oh, there's a tree that they've stripped bark off of, or some other ecological example, just helped the topics and content that I learned stick in my mind so much more. And I was able to be engaged in the learning in a different way. And we had professors, a lot of our professors were from Southern Africa. And so a lot of the ecological theory is a little bit different from something that I've been taught at Kenyon with a very Northern Hemisphere perspective. For instance, I had a lecture this week where we talked about succession of after a forest is cleared, different groups of species grow back, and then it's a mature forest again. But on AEC, we talked about how you can have alternative stable states, and there isn't clear succession, and that's a theory or area of ecology that I probably wouldn't have taught or been taught or learned if I hadn't gone abroad.
Okay, I'm going to build up on that last point that you just mentioned. So OTS is known for its field-based learning. You spend a lot of time out in the field, like you rightly mentioned. Is there a moment that you'd want to share with us during your AEC program where classroom theory came to life for you in the field, given how much time we spend? And you just mentioned kind of that juxtaposition of OT, of theory and practical. Was there a moment that you have that sort of theory coming to life when you were out in the field?
I mean, so often. It was great to have lectures about all these species that we could expect to see. Like I remember one of your bird lectures, Zing, and then going on a game drive. And as an avid birder, I was excited to see all these species come to life and out of the field guide. And one of my favorite things about OTS is that it is a very intense but also intentional experience. So folks coming are really excited to be engaged in ecology for 3.5 months. And you learn a lot from your peers. And one of my best friends in the program is a primatologist, and she was able to explain baboon behavior to us and make that come alive, because that's getting a little off track. But like we had this bird lecture about cuckoos that lay their eggs in another bird's nest and kind of steal the parental responsibilities as these other birds raise the cuckoo baby as their own. And we were able to see on that drive a couple of nice big Leviat's cuckoos, and just so many moments like that where we were able to kind of experience and be have these concepts come to life concretely. Just the more I think about, the more examples there are. Famous research, marine research, etc.
I'm really enjoying our chat with you. It's really bringing back lots of memories of the time when you were at OTS. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about you as an OTS ambassador. What can you tell prospective students about the program and what makes it stand out as a transformative experience?
It's great to be an ambassador. You got a sick jacket to sort of parade around in. But I think I tell people that I found in my learning, when something is really hard, it often is the most rewarding. And on OTS, you are definitely challenged a lot. There were some moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like complete this assignment or do this field work. And then my wonderful professors and peers are a great support network and, told me I could, helped me achieve these goals. And I felt so good about being able to just grow immensely and build a lot of confidence as well during my time on OTS. But I think I would say be ready to work hard, but also be ready to have the most rewarding academic experience of potentially your college career. It really stands out to me in that way. You also get to know the folks on your program really well. The cohorts stay pretty small, and you're spending much of your time with other students on your program, traveling the country. So you're able to build a lot of social skills. The students have a lot of agency to, I guess, shape the program as they need. So you get to know your cohort really well. I still talk to a lot of the other students in my group quite regularly, and your professors are also spending a lot of time with you. And so I was able to build relationships with the faculty and staff in a way that even at a small liberal arts school where those relationships are prioritized, just having inside jokes and being able to get so much insight, both academically and life advice wise, from your professors like Zing made OTS really special as well.
Cool. Let's still build up on that. Can you paint a picture for us? What does a typical day look like during your time in the Kruger National Park or Eswatini? You've been to both places twice. Is there any memorable encounters or unexpected surprises that you had during the time?
Oh, so many. I guess in terms of a memorable day, we had just the most fantastic. Last summer, our first 24 hours in Kruger was incredible. We were staying at Lower Sabi, which is this one of the rest camps in Kruger, and it's right along the bank of the Sabi River. Great overlooks. But a lot of the students coming, because IRES was sort of a mix of students from South Africa, Eswatini, and the US. A lot of the US students, it was their first time in the Afrotropics or South Africa. And so just driving in the gate of Kruger and seeing some animals like giraffes that we were familiar with from Eswatini, but others like elephants that were new, was so exciting. We had my car, a group of elephants ran out in the road, and sometimes the mothers, it was a herd of mothers with babies. The moms can get annoyed at engine sounds, so we had to turn the car off and wait for them to run by, which was super scary, but very exciting. And just, seeing all the students, their excitement, and we had a bunch of really good wildlife encounters in that first full day. We went to the river at dusk to look beyond the fence and see the hippos and crocs, and ended up seeing 2 mating leopards right outside the fence. The next day, cheetahs, rhinos. It was just an incredible day. But you do see cool wildlife every day. I think we usually, you do have to wake up early for field work often. But last summer we'd wake up at 6, usually have a few hours of field work, get back for lunch, and be able to kind of chill, relax, do some work in the afternoon. We would often go up to a big overlook that's in Eswatini. And then the evening have lecture and more work time. And similar schedule in Kruger as well, although you'll have some days that are more lectures, but you can usually do a game drive in the morning and the evening. Very engaged. Tiring, but good tiring for sure.
That's how I always describe it. It's a good kind of tiring, that because it's packed, but then at the end of the day, you're tired, but you're tired with a smile on your face because you've done really exciting things and really rewarding experiences. Yeah.
And huge shout out to Aggie Shadow Catering. Absolutely adore Majojo, Mary, Ali. They're fantastic, incredible cooks. So
absolutely.
I always looked forward to mealtime, even though sometimes it took me a few hours to eat.
Yes, that's definitely one memory of you that I've always had. And yeah, I always enjoyed meal times with you because once everyone is done, you literally perhaps would have just been through your first 5 spoons or thereabout. And and it was always nice to just sit back with you then and just have chat about the day and about everything and about US. And just it was usually a good time because you were never in a hurry to eat your food. And I was always in a hurry. I think I was at the other end of the spectrum. We were at the other end of the spectrum. I probably am one of the first to finish my meals, and you always almost consistently the last to finish. So we always had lots of chat times over dinner, especially the dinner meals. That's when there's not much to do afterwards. So it's usually quite a good time to just chat and catch up on the day and sort of generally check out where everyone is. But definitely one of
Yes.
my memories of you. It was a good time. Dinner was always good and fun times.
Yeah, I always chat too much, and then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm starving still.
Yeah, right. Now let's talk culture and personal growth during OTS. Exploring South Africa, you also had the chance to visit places besides the Kruger National Park. You visited other parts of South Africa like Johannesburg, Cape Town, and during your second visit, you were in Nature's Valley. I remember at the end of your time AEC, you also spent a couple of weeks, a week and a bit in the country before you flew back. How did these experiences expand your general understanding of South Africa? So we're now talking about culturally and ecologically
Yes.
speaking.
Yeah. It was definitely a, a quite feels very different on the ground, I think.
Hmm.
And a lot of OTS you spend in game reserves,
Hmm.
which is great. I love it as an ecologist. But it was good to have even built into the program, AEC, you have a week in Cape Town to hang out and do whatever you want,
Hmm.
within reason.
Yeah.
Um, but it was good to complement my time in the field with time kind of getting to understand South Africa. And I found I've made a lot of connections with South Africans in my time in the country. I really enjoy the vibe,
Hmm.
and have kept in contact with folks, which is great to have perspectives of people who aren't from the US. And I've found that I learned a lot about um, myself and the way my philosophy in life, um, from my time in the cities, as well as we were able to visit in Joburg Freedom Park, which is a monument to the struggle against and becoming free from apartheid.
Hmm.
Um, Robben Island in Cape Town, where a lot of the um, freedom fighters were unjustly and inhumanely imprisoned.
Hmm.
Um, but it helped me build an appreciation for the South African spirit, um, and understand sort of what it's like to be in a country that is um, growing economically and industrializing in a way that um, the US is not. And I found that it put a lot of, especially our conservation biology lectures in great context,
Hmm.
about sustainable development and ensuring that people's needs are met as we're protecting these biodiverse ecosystems.
Hmm.
Um, and they're also in Cape Town and Nature's Valley, especially, are in the Western Cape. So they're pretty far from Kruger in the Northeast. Um, and it means that they have a different climate and different um, biota,
Hmm.
totally different ecosystem. The Fynbos by Cape Town is actually, I believe, has comparable plant species diversity to the Amazon rainforest,
Hmm.
on a acreage basis.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was incredible to be able to see just sort of a 2 hour plane ride away, totally different ecosystems. And that complemented my learning in addition to getting to experience these big cities.
Right. Now, you did mention earlier on that the classroom, both at AEC and when you returned, been a mixed band of South Africans and Americans and students from different places. Did these interactions in any ways impact on your approach to research and conservation or not?
Yeah, I think one of the ideas that Dr. Natalie Wright, who I work with at Kenyon, really emphasizes is inclusivity. So our lab has representatives of so many identities among our students, and I've been really privileged to participate in lab discussions about inclusivity in science, and have learned a lot through both at Kenyon and on OTS as well, the fireside, or I guess side chats and just the students at meal times. Learn a lot about the importance of having varied voices in conservation. It makes your scientific discoveries better, and doing the science, I think, a lot more fun and interesting. But in terms of research, I definitely am looking to continue post-college with research, and hope to be part of a lab that really prioritizes equity and inclusion as well. And yeah, I learned, I think South African humor is the funniest thing. It was just a great time, always laughing whenever I was with folks from OTS, and have brought back some jokes to my home institution, my friends at home. Yeah, all around a really fun time, and exciting to now have these connections that I can maintain with other scientists from around the globe, to continue to foster collaboration and expand each other's scientific perspectives, and life perspective. I think I definitely want to continue with science, and that's in large part due to my research experiences with OTS. I am going to be taking a couple of years off, I think, to relax, take a break from school, improve my adulting skills, and hopefully get some cool field experiences. I'm looking at potential projects that I could join, or field jobs that I could work sort of globally, which I don't think I would have done. Getting to South Africa the first time and stepping off the plane, I remember I was so nervous to get picked up by everyone, go through customs on my own, never had done it. And then by the end of the semester was confident in myself. And now I'm looking to expand that, and be a global citizen in addition to a citizen of the US. And then after my couple of years of exploring are done, I think popping into a PhD. I have lots of ideas. Maybe it'll have to do with grass, because of my experience doing now months of research on grass with OTS. But we'll hopefully be going into science full time. So if anyone listening thinks I sound interesting as a PhD student, definitely feel free to reach out.
I'm sure that we would be seeing Adrian Lee, doctor, in the future, doing exploits and great things in the world.
Thank you, Zing.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah. What advice would you give for students who are considering OTS as a program, and how can they make the most of their OTS experience if they are to get away in?
Yeah, I would say if you like to be outside, and you are super excited about doing research, definitely choose OTS. I can't speak to any of the other programs, but that was what I wanted to get out of the program. Doing research, learning about a variety of topics, and seeing a ton of wildlife, which I definitely did. Was very excited to have seen more than 500 bird species by the end of the program. So my advice would be definitely pick OTS if that sounds exciting. You're able to travel all around South Africa and meet scientists doing research in the different ecosystems of South Africa. And it was really exciting to be able to help them with their projects and be exposed to a hugely varied variety of ecological research. Be able to decide, oh, this type of project is really for me, and maybe this project is not for me, which is just as valuable. I would say bring thick pants, and waterproof hiking boots, that are relatively tall, because it can be thorny out there. Yeah, extra socks. They might get a little muddy, and gross, or you might get holes in them. Bring a good attitude and go into it, I think, with the expectation to learn and have fun, but bring an open-minded perspective. I think coming back to OTS, I was so excited and had like just the best time last summer, but every group is so different, and the schedule that we had and research that we were doing was different the second time. And I wish, or pretty quickly realized, oh, my expectations of how the schedule is going to look, for instance, are totally different. And being able to be open-minded again helped me really adjust and enjoy both experiences for what they were worth.
Thanks. What's your must-have snack to keep you energized during your long birding day?
Definitely dried mango. It is good in the US. It is spectacular and show-stopping in South Africa. Both times I was on OTS, the group became rather obsessed with mango and was also great about sharing snacks. So some of our field days, man, they were pretty long. And after hiking in warm weather through tall grass for a few miles, carrying equipment, bringing samples and stuff back to the cars and the lab, we would just be exhausted, but feeling very rewarded. And just that moment of like opening up the back of the bucky, that's like a South African term for pickup truck, and pulling out the snack bag and cracking open the mango and passing it around, and just everyone totally reviving is a pleasure that I'll never forget.
Right.
Ah, there's such good snacks.
Now, before I let you go, we're just going to go into what I call the smoke session. I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Right. If you could have dinner with any conservationist, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, I don't know if my historical knowledge may have waned, unfortunately, since your lectures. But maybe the person who came up with the campfire program in Zimbabwe, or anyone from OTS, you, Lawrence, Liesel, Josie, etc. All of those would be great.
Right. You've spent a lot of time in South Africa twice. What's one African or South African dish that you cannot stop thinking about?
I always miss braai. It's like barbecue, but better. I don't know if it's because of the wood fire or something else, the spices, the aromat. But yeah, always looking to have a braai. And so hopefully I can make that happen.
Right. I know you are a bird guy. You love birds so much. What's one piece of birding gear or tech that you can't live without?
Binoculars. I bring them everywhere with me. They're helpful for looking at any bird you want to identify, or just enjoying the beauty of all the stunning South African birds. Oh my gosh, I miss them. Yeah, I think binoculars. I think that really the simplest answer is maybe the correct one.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Now, if you could spot just one bucket list bird in the world, anywhere in the world, which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good one. My favorite bird might be the secretary bird, which I've been able to see on OTS. So maybe that, I guess, trying to think of birds that have eluded me, because those are the ones that drive me nuts. And I might have to go with the Pell's fishing owl, which I have never seen.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Thanks.
Yeah. Now, finally, the last one. What's your most surprising or unforgettable wildlife experience from your time in South Africa and Eswatini?
Oh, there's so many.
I can imagine.
Yeah, last summer we saw baby cheetah, which was
Wow.
pretty awesome. They're cute. And I think in Eswatini, I remember we got in to the airport, did an afternoon activity, had this long drive to Eswatini. And And then driving into the gate of Mwaluzi Game Reserve, definitely one of my happy places. Seeing giraffes for the first time and being able to get out of the car and
Right.
stand next to a giraffe, they're very curious. It just looked at us. Yeah, that's probably a moment I'll never forget. I have some great selfies with them.
You've had great memories, and I'm so glad that you're able to share these with us. And on these really happy memories, I would want to say thank you so much, Adrian, for making time to come onto this podcast and sharing your experience, and also speaking as an OTS ambassador to prospective students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Zingpa. This was great. It's good to reflect on some of the happiest times in my life and get excited about how I'll make my return.
Thanks so much, and I guess we'll speak again sometime soon. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with others who care about science, conservation, and the natural world, or with any prospective students who will benefit from the OTS experience. Do follow us on our social media with OTS Abroad on Instagram and Tropical Studies on Facebook. You can also send us an email to podcast@tropicalstudies.org. Remember, each one of us has a part to play in preserving these incredible environments. If you're an OTS alum or you're part of the OTS family with stories to tell, we would love to hear from you. Reach out and be part of the podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, and we'll see you back here on the Trail of Science, Tracks and Trajectories for more amazing OTS stories.